started coming towards us, knocking trees down as it came. There has been a lot of sightings and a lot of activity down here.
At first it looked toward my car and then it started heading away.
People seeing things are not being reported to authorities or to investigators.
A stick about 6 feet long and about 4.5, 5 inches in diameter. He kind of caught it out of the corner of his eye and heard it whirling through the air, and he kind of ducked and it hit him in the back.
It's not a human as we know it, but it's not a ape as we would know it.
In 1924, gold prospector Fred Beck claims to have shot a large, hairy, ape-like creature near Mount St. Helens in what is now called Ape Canyon. The miner's cabin was attacked at night with a hail of stones. They had failed to heed warnings from Native Americans who shunned the area out of fear and reverence for these alleged creatures.
It isn't that I believe it exists. I've seen this with my own 2 eyes. It isn't a belief, it's a fact. I know it exists. I've seen it. It's there.
Turned a non-believer into a believer that fast.
I'm positive of what I saw. I don't think it could have been anything else.
The Encounters team has come to the base of Mount St. Helens in Washington State in an attempt to discover the truth behind legends of these hairy giants. Creatures Fred Beck and others knew as mountain devils.
I believe there's a lot of people out there who have had sightings that are not getting the information out.
Cryptozoologist by profession and driven by her own mysterious encounter, Autumn Williams travels the world.
Thousands of people can't have seen something that doesn't exist. All we need is proof.
Sometimes at dawn, or the edge of dusk, there's a fleeting glimpse of an impossible sight.
Do you have it?
Get it. I see it.
Let go!
What's the range?
The sightings are real. The technology, cutting edge. Are you ready for mysterious encounters?
Farm in Graham. I was going to farm sit for the weekend. And I turned off onto their little lane, which just goes by this church and has speed bumps, so I was going very slow. And I passed a man walking, and when I looked up from him, I waved at him. When I looked up from him, I saw this thing in my headlights. And I saw a frontal view of this large body walking. I thought at first it was a bear, but it had shoulders. And I followed him around with my head and saw him silhouetted in the yard light behind him. And I could see bulging muscles, big shoulders, but he was all dark. There was no clothing delineated like it was in the man that I had passed. At first it looked toward my car and then it started heading away. It just had very large strides. I had to drive around the corner and stop at the gate and get out. And I was terrified. But the dogs were there, and the dogs seemed normal, so I got out and I unlocked the gate. I ran in the house and turned on all the floodlights and sat there and thought, wow. And I just felt this dawning awe and excitement, you know? And then I felt really privileged. It was neat.
In a world of freeways, cell phones, and urban sprawl, it may be difficult to believe that an entire species of human-like creatures could exist here, undetected. That is, until one sees the vast Pacific Northwest wilderness and the conviction in the eyes of witnesses.
Autumn Williams is a nationally known cryptozoologist and field researcher, a specialist in the search for as yet undiscovered species.
The Encounters team and I are on our way to Ape Canyon to discover the truth behind tales of the mountain devil. The Mount St. Helens area has long been a hotbed for sightings.
You're okay there.
Here, these creatures are known as mountain devils.
Let's start turning this way, okay?
Each Native American tribe had a name for these creatures in their language. These names all loosely translate to devil. Miner Fred Beck claims that he shot a strange, hairy, ape-like creature. The miner's cabin was attacked, and the prospecting party experienced the wrath of the mountain devils. This amazing story when Mysterious Encounters returns. Ape Canyon is located on the northeast slope of Mount St. Helens in Washington State, near Yakima. Witnesses have sighted upright, hair-covered creatures in this area for hundreds of years. Each Native American tribe had a name for these creatures in their language. These names all loosely translate to devil.
It happened in 1924, before I was born even.
The most famous mountain devil encounter ever recorded is that of miner Fred Beck in 1924. Fred Beck's son, Ronald Beck, recounts the story his father told him.
I know it's true. It all happened. I'll give you my word, this story is true. Many things stranger than fiction. And this is one of them. My dad, my uncle, my grandfather, and 2 other men were prospecting in Mount St. Helens area. And they built a cabin up there and father claimed, I guess, had it for several years or more before this happened, where they encountered with mountain devils.
Get the gun, friends. Those are the mountain devils. I didn't believe you before.
They saw one first. I guess across the canyon. Dad took a shot at one. He was expert shot. After that, sometime there was an attack on the cabin, all right.
God save us. Shot one.
It lasted most of the night, rattling everything, jumping up in the roof and throwing rocks.
They're gonna get us. I know they're gonna get us. They've stopped.
The companions of his were quite scared.
What happened to them?
Attack on the cabin lasted all night until about the next day in the morning when it quit. That absolutely happened, and you either believe or disbelieve, I don't care.
The body, which gave Ape Canyon its name, was never recovered.
Rock throwing is common in eyewitness reports. It seems to be a sort of non-confrontational way of getting people to leave the area. Stories of actual physical violence are few and far between, and are usually in retaliation to some harm done to the creatures.
Eyewitness stories like Fred Beck's are intriguing from an anecdotal standpoint, but what about visual evidence? On June 10, 1982, Walla Walla Ranger District employee Paul Freeman was patrolling the Mill Creek watershed when he had his first sighting of the large, hair-covered creature. Although subsequent harassment caused Freeman to quit his job at the Ranger District, he continued his efforts to prove the creature's existence. In 1994, he obtained this footage.
Some believe the Freeman footage was a hoax, but there may be a secret hidden within the footage that Paul Freeman never noticed, or at least never mentioned, before his untimely death in April of 2003. There appears to be 2 small legs, complete with articulating ankles, in this clip. Is this a young creature being lifted by its parent? Perhaps we'll never know. The video has been sent to experts for analysis, and I'm anxious to hear their conclusion.
There is other evidence as well. Many witnesses claim to have recorded the actual vocalizations of these creatures. Longtime researcher Rich Grover brought the team one such recent recording.
This happened up near Stevens Pass, April 19th, 2003.
But the Encounters team is here to find new evidence of their own, and they have brought a wealth of technology to aid them in their hunt for the mountain devil, including an array of infrared cameras that will be strategically placed.
This is live surveillance at its finest.
These cameras can capture images in total darkness. A heat-sensitive micron thermal imaging camera will also be used in the area of recent sightings. This camera will detect minute temperature differences within the background, making it impossible for any creature large or small to avoid detection. Richard Knoll has installed a high-speed flash still camera and an infrared camera on the mountain bikes, giving the team the ability to cover large areas with stealth and speed. With the technology prepped and ready, the team scouts the area before nightfall, looking for ideal locations to place camera traps.
If these creatures do in fact exist, our ultimate goal is to capture video and DNA evidence. But without knowing exactly which tree to look behind at any given moment, it's a daunting task. There are many caves and lava tubes in this area. My thought is that these creatures might use these for shelter, or even use the tubes themselves for travel. The AquaView camera system, coupled with a remote control platform, should give us a better look at some of the ledges and overhangs we can't quite reach. These creatures reportedly can climb steep cliffs with little effort, and a place that is inaccessible to humans may be an ideal spot to install a remote surveillance system.
Down at the bottom now. Stop!
With the cameras in place, the team is ready for nightfall. On a previous expedition in Whitehall, New York, several of the team members heard what sounded like chest beating in response to coyote calls.
There was a series of thumps. They were so fast and so close together, I didn't count how many there were. I guess maybe the coyote call is a good one to use. Kind of odd.
Could there be a relationship between these creatures and coyotes?
Oh, there he is again. Real time.
Oh, look at that. He's right. Oh, he just lifted his head up. We were just down here like 5 minutes ago and I heard something and it kind of freaked me out, so we ran up. Look at his eyes.
Live, real time, and there he is.
Coyotes could very well lead us to the creature we're looking for.
On a previous expedition in Whitehall, New York, several of the team members heard what sounded like chest beating in response to coyote calls. Could there be a relationship between these creatures and coyotes? The Encounters team has come to Mount St. Helens in Washington State to discover the truth behind the legend of the Mountain Devil. Interestingly, it also resembles eyewitness accounts of creatures as far away as New York State and Louisiana.
This area is incredibly rugged, full of caves and lava tubes. If these creatures use underground tunnels as regular travel routes or shelters, there might be evidence left behind. Footprints, feces, hair samples, or other signs of habitation. There's only one way to find out.
How far back do you think we are now?
About a quarter of a mile.
Are there cave spiders in here?
Where there's water, there's life, and there's a lot of water dripping in here.
A lot of sightings and reports of screams and footprints around these caves, entrances. Maybe they use them.
I don't see any evidence of bioluminescence in this cave rig, so if these creatures use these lava tubes for travel, how do you think they do it?
Well, not all of them are this long or this dark.
There was a fork right back here, so if you guys want to take the left-hand fork and I'll continue on
Okay.
down this way and There's a lot of bats in here.
So far, the only sign of life Autumn sees are rodents, both with wings and without.
Rick, Matt, do you copy?
Yeah, we copy.
You guys find anything?
No, we found nothing of interest. How about you?
Nothing here. I'll meet you guys back at the entrance.
Alrighty, we'll see you up there.
Autumn surveys the area with a micron thermal imaging camera from a vista above the lahar, while fellow team member Matt uses a 4th-generation Starlight scope.
There's certainly more coyotes out here than probably anything else at that predation level.
Yeah, it's a spooky place. It looks like a moonscape.
It is. Well, that's the effects of a big ash and mud flow from a volcano, which is what a lahar is. With the thermal camera, you'll be able to see a little bit further if there's any life out there moving around.
Swing your goggles around here down to the bait station. Let's see if those coyotes came back.
Although there was no visible wildlife except for this coyote at the moment, a sweep of the area for tracks might still reveal evidence.
Well, this looks like a coyote track right here.
Yeah, we saw this. We saw these coyotes earlier on the Bounder camp.
Richard came up with a unique technique for track hunting in the dark by simply strapping lights to our ankles.
The best way to see a track is with a very shallow angle light.
This method makes any impression more noticeable than in the daylight.
The team decides to use an audio lure that will carry for many miles. At a nearby lake, they broadcast what are claimed to be the strange calls of this unknown creature.
And up in the air we go.
This powerful sound blaster will repeat the recording every 15 minutes. Meanwhile, listening teams are stationed along the shore, ready to record a response.
Team 1, do you copy?
Copy that. Was that a return call?
Sounded like one to me.
Yeah. Whoa.
What was that?
Boat team, we heard what sounded like a return call. Did you guys pick that up out there? Over.
Sounded like it came from that side of the mountain over there.
It was a long scream that went kind of... It was really breathy.
Whatever that scream was, it didn't sound human.
With a faint response heard, the team must get closer to the origin of the response area. Mountain bikes are now readied and equipped with still and video cameras. Autumn's helmet is equipped with a camera as well to capture anything she sees.
We need to adjust this.
After examining the Freeman video extensively, I've come to the following conclusions.
County, Washington, attempting to collect evidence of the Encounters team has spent the past week in Skamania County, Washington, attempting to collect evidence of the existence of a huge, hairy, man-like creature known as the Mountain Devil. After painstakingly reviewing every single tape, team members concluded every encounter scene was with an identifiable animal native to this forest. The Encounters team was also presented with existing physical evidence. An intriguing videotape shot by Forest Service employee Paul Freeman. Dr. Jeff Meldrum is an expert in anatomy.
One of the interesting things about the Freeman video is it also provides a fair amount of context. We know where the location is. Its scale, anywhere from between 7 and 7.5 feet in height based on the surrounding vegetation. The way the light plays off the hair makes it look definitely like animal hair, not some fabricated costume fur. There is the reservation about the coincidental encounter by this single eyewitness. In one of these parting shots, there's an unnoticed segment where the individual appears to be scooping up an infant, and one sees two dark, dangling objects that move of their own volition as this apparent infant is hoisted up by the video subject. So all these things taken in balance make for a very compelling piece of video evidence.